Welcome to the Art of Adventure. This is episode 219 with John Abbott. The Art of Adventure is the podcast that helps you travel the world, run your business, and embark on an epic quest. I'm your host, lead explorer, and guide, Derek Loudermilk, and you can go to derekloudermilk.com to check out the show notes for this episode and all the other episodes. So today's guest is John Abbott, who I met last year when I was speaking at the Freedom X Festival in Budapest. His partner Estella was the founder of that event, and now he and Estella are running a huge event, basically taking over a town in the Pyrenees of Spain. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but we're actually going to be talking more about this model that John calls the giving model, which is basically where instead of selling your product at the end of a talk on stage or a webinar or video series or whatever, you give it away. It totally flips marketing and selling on its head. I think you guys are going to be totally blown away by what he's talking about here. And John is just such an interesting guy. He told me when I met him that one of his gifts in his life is to quickly be able to grow a company from scratch to 6 figures a month, just boom like that. And I know he's done it over and over again. He's friends with people like Roger Hamilton and Richard Branson. And when I met him, he was really skinny. He told me that he was the Asian the downhill mountain biking champion. And I verified this when I was at his house recently. We're recording the episode at his villa in Bali. And I saw his trophies. And then, this super skinny guy, he had actually just done like a month-long fast right before I met him. So he's a great entrepreneur, a world traveler. Originally, he's South African, met him in Bali, but he's been all over the place. And he's a marketing genius and a really down-to-earth guy. So, wow, let's just jump right into this interview with John Abbott. All right, welcome back to the Art of Adventure, and I'm here today with John Abbott. Welcome to the podcast.
Cheers. Welcome to Canada.
Yes, and so that was a clink of us. We're celebrating today. John has successfully launched a best-selling book earlier today.
Yeah.
And we're in John's private villa that he built on the beach here in Bali, and I've made the drive down from where I live in Abbott down to Candidasa, which is another town in Bali. And we're doing this interview it's great because most of my guests are not in person. So I'm in person with John and we're enjoying some cocktails. So if we get a little silly, then
blame the cocktails.
Yeah, we're not silly normally, but
of course.
So first let's start with this book launch. It's got 12 different authors.
Yeah.
And I'm working on a similar book myself. So I'd love to hear what the idea behind it was. Like, why did you put together a book with a bunch of co-authors?
Sure. So the book's called Freedom by Design, Live Life on Your Own Terms. And this is really a collaboration between myself and my partner, Estella, where she's been running these amazing freedom summits and freedom festivals. And she's been doing it for all of 1 year. So the natural progression of putting people on stages, interviewing people, bringing the stories to the masses, is to actually then put a publication together. And it kind of came out of a couple of years ago when I did a book launch as well. So this is the second book I've gone bestseller on, and I've helped 5 other authors become bestsellers as well for their books. And I said to her, because she finished last year's festival, and she said, I want to do another festival next year, and I want to do it far bigger. So we had 250 people last year. You were there. It was amazing in Budapest. Yeah. In fact, that's where we met.
Exactly.
Budapest.
Yeah.
So from that festival, all the success that she had created from that one, she said, well, let's do a much bigger one. And we've now planned what was a 2-day, 250 people, built up and created all within 2.5 to 3 months, to 6 days, take over a remote village in northern Spain, in the Pyrenees, and bring in 100 speakers and,
oh my gosh.
And friggin' hell, festival. Outdoor festival, crazy, 1,000 people.
Whoa, that's happening this year.
That's happening this year in August.
In August, wow.
So that's the new game. And I said to her, well, if you're going to play that game, we've got to start a wave of people and attention and marketing that's going to actually fill 1,000 people, because I've never done a 1,000-person festival. I've done a 1,000 people event, which is like a small, low-end cost event. But this is hundreds of pounds, and up to 1,000, 2,000 pounds for the different luxury accommodation that they have. So I don't know what's involved in that. So we started that.
That's a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So bestseller. That's number one. Bestseller. We had the summit that finished this week as well. So we had 1,500 people come through the summit so far, which is awesome.
A virtual summit, online summit.
Yeah. Virtual summit. So we've interviewed all of the authors, plus a few other people as well as partners.
Nice.
And now that's moved into the book, and that's why the book went number one bestseller straight away, because the people from the summit went straight in and got a book.
Awesome. And then so you're using the summit to build attention, and then the book. Is that enough, do you think, to fill the event?
No, that's why we've started it now. And we've already gone out. We've got the first, I think, like 30 sales in for the festival, and we launched it this last month. So we've got X amount of months, I don't know, 5-6 months left to fill it up. And there's a bunch of different things that we're doing, as well as even considering writing another book with a bunch of the speakers who will be up on there, who will be far bigger partners, far bigger brands that we're now putting on there. But the big work that we're doing is putting the big players on stages at the festival, and by putting them on stages, we reach their audience. So that's our primary focus right now, is that we've got an entire team of salespeople and sponsorship people going out, finding the people that we want. We've got a huge list of people who play in this space, as well as like really top end sponsors like airlines and stuff like that. We're even speaking to VW with their new VW Combi.
Whoa.
That's now all electric, and we're talking about getting 3 of those, and they're up for the game. Getting 3 of those, actually driving them across Europe, that actually end up there in these Combis and actually having a full film crew and stuff like that on board. So like those are
like
the type of things.
Olympic torch relay or something.
Exactly.
Nice.
It's stuff like that that's going to make this a 1,000, maybe 2,000 person event. So we've gone, if we sell 1,000 tickets, can we make 2,000 people show up by giving tickets away to like those primary people, and making sure that we get number one them there, and then number two have a massive event that just is so exciting.
Wow. It sounds like this is not intimidating at all for you, but rather just exciting. But I think for most people, something of this scale would be kind of mind-blowingly big to think about.
It is.
So you have speakers that you want on stage, and you're pursuing them because they fit with the festival, or because they have an audience, or how do you choose who you want on your stages at the event?
Well, there's this categorization really. So number one, for this event, it's Freedom Festival, the first location independent lifestyle festival of its kind that we're doing. So we're looking for the biggest players in location independence, including corporates who are incorporating location independence into the future of work for their employees. So acknowledging people like that, putting them on stage. So we're always speaking to people like a bunch of different people who have corporations whose entire workforce is not in an office all around the world. So we're speaking to different CEOs of those kinds of companies and inviting them on, and we're getting them. They're excited because they want to be acknowledged for that, for playing that game and giving people a lifestyle work environment where the lifestyle is wherever you like, be it Bali, be it in the mountains, in the forest, or in a city. But you decide where you want to work, and that's the big thing. So that's one category of people, and then the other categories are celebrities that will command an audience without us having to go to their audience. Just because they're there, people will come. So there's a short list of those kinds of people already on there, and they're big brand names.
Have you announced any of the So okay, still under wraps.
All of this is under wraps at the moment because this is still in its infancy, really, just to confirm those ones. And those guys it's a long conversation. And then the third one are big audience holders, so people who kind of play in this area but actually have a big audience. So, for instance, some of them that we are in full negotiation with, and I believe will come on, are people like Escape the City and guys like that who actually are taking people out of cities, and they've got tens of thousands of people on databases. We're working with Casey Fenton from Couchsurfing, and he's got something like 200 million people or something like 20 million people who follow him, like a huge audience for Couchsurfing. So those audiences are hugely valuable to us. So whatever we can do to get those audiences and get this message in front of them, that's the three areas that are going to make it a successful event.
I remember when you spoke at the first event at the Freedom X Fest in Budapest, you talked a little bit about partnerships, the importance of finding ways that you could form a partnership where it's a win-win for both partners. How do you frame that when you're talking to a celebrity, for example? Come to our first time event. What does that conversation look like?
That is a really great question. When it comes to celebrities, you're looking for the ones who believe in the movement. So that's your first thing. Find the people this is their purpose. This is the message that they want to get out there. Find them first.
Okay.
So, there's not a lot of people who are known in this industry just yet. It's a relatively new movement, or certainly space to play in. But there's things like the 4-hour work week that Tim Ferriss. He's probably the most well-renowned person in that area. So are we reaching out to Tim? Yes, we are. Tim is somebody that we would like to get there. He's a hugely busy guy, and he's got mountains around him to protect him. But we're digging, and like anything, you become the squeaky wheel. That's my philosophy. I don't take no for an answer. I keep going back in, and I come at a different angle, and I go to a new person, and I get somebody answers the email, and I go to them, and I jump in a different, jump on another funnel in. You just keep going, and some of them you'll get, some of them you won't. But if we're committed to the cause, which we are, then those people will show up as well, and they want to see that. I think it's important for us to show that commitment. If we just give up first time because we get a no, how many things would never have shown up in our world if somebody had said, "Oh, I got a no," that's it. So,
I feel like there's a religious tale or The Alchemist or something where it's you have to ask 3 times.
At least 3 times. You're thinking of the 1 Minute Millionaire.
Just so many books. You got to ask 3 times, and then it'll be granted. Okay, so and primarily you're pursuing people like Tim Ferriss by relationships, seeing who can get an introduction to him and tell him about what the festival's about. Okay.
There's everybody's got a PR, a management company or manager, or an events company or promoter or something like that becomes the face of the negotiation, and essentially our job is to get into the conversation first with them. And if we can sideline them as well, definitely sideline them. Go straight to the source. So we're finding friends of, Casey is friends with Tim. So hey Casey, can you do a little intro? Yeah, sure.
Nice.
Now that's a whole different conversation. Someone else that we're looking for potentially is someone like Russell Brand. He speaks beautifully in this space of living freely, and actually the system and the matrix and all that type of thing that he's quite passionate about.
Okay.
So I found his events marketing company literally this week through one of the authors actually in the book, and he's jumping on stage with those guys. So I thought, hey, could you give me an intro to the events company, because I want to speak to so-and-so. And then that opens up a whole bunch of other people that they represent as well. That we will pretend to get access to.
Okay, cool. That's kind of fun, actually. And part of this interview, I'd like to talk about the fun in business, because it's like, well, we don't know exactly who we can get, but we're pretty sure we can get some pretty great people if we keep at it, which is not that stressful. It's just sort of like, what's going to happen?
If you're not attached to it, if you're attached to an outcome of having the specific person, then it becomes stressful, and it gets, you start to kind of hold on to all that stuff, and you can get upset and disappointed and all that stuff. But I don't care. I don't care who I get.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for all of them, and we get all of them awesome. We get one of them awesome. We get none of them awesome. I've had a great experience, and I've learned a whole bunch of things. I would have met a whole bunch of amazing people, and we'll have other amazing people on our stage.
Wow. Okay, so this is cool because you've got this big objective, and then you've got things like the book, which you had a successful launch, which are the stepping stones along the way. Okay. So, and this is really cool because you're in business with Stella, and she's your romantic partner.
Yeah.
And did you guys start off as romantic partners and then start doing business together, or how did that work?
Yeah. So we actually met 1 year ago, literally a few weeks ago. We celebrated our meeting for the very first time, and when I met Stella, she was actually running the summit that we just finished this last week. So she was actually building up to actually launching it and stuff like that, and she was still putting the systems together, and she was stressed out, and she needed a lot of help, tech help and stuff like that. And I have a tech team, so in the conversations when we first met, it was like, hey, why don't you I'll give you my tech team. You let them see if they can find the bugs and make the things work the way that you want them to work. And that was the start of our conversations. And then after the summit, I saw how she operated, and I just watched her just make all the things happen, the people, the marketing, everything, and I was so impressed. Like, wow, this is one woman doing pretty much all of this on her own, and she micromanaged everything and made it work. It was really impressive, and I had a project coming up, which was something that we'll talk about later, which is one of the campaigns we're running around our giving model, which I needed help on to fill a funnel. We needed 2,000 people in this funnel, and I had a bunch of partnerships and stuff like that need management, and I had no more time left. So I went to her. I said, if you have time, I've got this project. It's over the next 6 weeks. Can you come and join me and help me fill up this thing? And she said, yeah, sure, let me do that. And literally that was the start of business together. And she joined the team, and literally a few months later, we kind of fell into a relationship. Universal forces made that beautifully happen together, and
wow,
and
cool.
I think that actually formed a stronger business relationship, because what ended up happening was we started having real conversations about the business, where when you're an employee or you're working for somebody, it's not easy to kind of speak out and speak your truth and tell people what's going on in the business.
Yes.
But when you're in your relationship, it's like, I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on right here. And it became a far better relationship for business and for ourselves personally. It got really real.
Cool. I like that. So you sort of alluded to the giving model. Let's talk a little bit about that. When you spoke at Freedom X Fest, and so this is like my experience of your expertise is from that talk and our conversations a little bit in Budapest. I know that you have run like contests online to sort of give away some of the products or offerings. So maybe you could just start by describing what is the giving model and how does it help with marketing, or how does it help grow an audience?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm in the process of writing the book on the Give model, and this year I'll launch that. And it's been an 8-year process. So there's huge amounts of learning in that.
Yeah.
We've tested it on multiple industries, multiple speakers and trainers and coaches and all that type of thing, and we've worked out the different iterations in the way that it can work and the different ways we can roll it out. And I know that there's going to be far more that'll come, because once I write the book and the more clients that are going to come off it, the more creativities are going to come out, and people are going to come up with new ideas on how they can do it. And I'm really looking forward to that. So what is it? So imagine you come to, let's say, a webinar. You get online, you go to a webinar, and you listen to this guy do an inspiring talk, and he teaches you some stuff, and he gives you some understanding, and he tells you about, you know what life looked like before and what it looked like afterwards, and he tells you, where you are right now, and you go, yeah, I know that, and he goes, and you could be here, and you go, oh yeah, I like that. But you've got to take a leap of faith, and when you take a leap of faith and you buy my thing, that's when life will be good. And everyone goes, okay, I better buy his thing. And people kind of get into like a state, and they get into the sale, and they make a decision. And you see that over and over again, and you know when it's coming. Like right now,
Sure.
I can see any presentation, workshop, and stuff like that, and I know when the sale's coming. And I can feel it, and I feel the shift in energy, and I feel the change in the speed of the voice of the speaker in general. Some speakers are very, very good. Other speakers, you can feel them getting nervous and start stuttering and
get a little weird. Or what,
yeah, and they start sweating harder.
Yep.
And you know it's coming. And everyone kind of feels kind of comfortable in the audience. It's like, here it comes, what's he going to tell me? He's going to make me to buy, oh fuck. Like everyone's in there, we know this.
Sure, yeah.
So I've just changed the model, and I said, instead of us going into a sale, what if the speaker is telling us about all these things and telling us about what the opportunity is for us, and when he gets to the end, he goes, you know what? Because you're here, and because I was able to have this time with you, and I want to acknowledge you for that, I'm going to give my program away. Who would like my program for free? Guess how many hands go up?
Everybody.
Everybody's hands go up. This is it. So we get 100% of the room every single time. Hold on, there's a problem here. We've made no money.
Yeah.
So here's the streak of genius. If I don't say so myself. And this was the universal genius that fortunately kind of fell into it, and that created the model, which was, rather than giving them all away, you give one away, or at least one away. And if you decide to give more, then that's okay. But you give the whole thing away. So I'll describe it by giving an example, because I'll give you the example of the first one that actually happened and where it actually worked out.
Yeah.
And I actually got the idea. And I was sitting in a table with my business partner and with the marketing team, and we were all thinking about how do we get out to our market, who we've been marketing towards for 3 months, and sell at least the last five seats that we needed to break even.
Yes.
And this was a program called Green Supercamp. And Supercamp is a massive program over in the US, and we've kind of brought them together with the Green School here in Bali. And we're running that, and we've had 30 odd people already buy the program at anywhere between sort of $1,500 and $3,000, which was the full price. And we had tried every marketing thing, 2 for 1, 50% off, $1,500 cash back, all these things, and we had done the sales. We'd got the people in there, and we got that, but we were short. And for our first one, we wanted to at least break even. That was like everybody was committed to that. And I'd seen a whole bunch of amazing models. In the previous year, I'd been doing lots of different programs and workshops with different people, and I'd seen a whole bunch of different models of vouchers and giveaways and contests and things, but none of them in that moment could I kind of piece together that would actually work with an external audience. These were all done once people had an experience and they were in the room, and I could see why they worked. But this one here, I had to try and get to the same audience in that moment because I had 2 weeks to go to the program. And the program was in July in Bali. And in July, as many people know, is like the biggest part of the season because all the Australians come out of school and they fly over in July. So like airline tickets fly up, accommodation flies up, all that type of thing. And we had 2 weeks before that, and I could already see the flights were going up. How can we get 5 more people? When the emails and all the marketing we were doing were getting zero. It was like crickets. Like, you know what it's like when you send out marketing pieces, nobody's responding. It's like, oh God, it's done. So something just dropped in my head. I thought, hold on, what if we gave one of these away? Could we attract people to at least come out of the woodwork if they were thinking about it if we gave one away? And like everyone looked at me like, why would we do that? I said, well, because then we would have people we could talk to. And then it kind of dropped in. And what if, as a second prize or a shortlisting, we gave them a 50% scholarship towards it?
Which would be like sort of break-even cost.
Which would still be $1,500 that we're selling it at happily for the last 3 months.
Yes.
But it's a totally different energy and it's a totally different framing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something fun. It's gamifying the whole thing. It's a contest.
Yeah.
Put your application, tell us why. The question there was, tell us what a difference this program would make to your teenager. Oh my God. We had all these applications coming in with people, mostly from the mums, and the marketing went out and I did it over 48 hours. 24 hours to put your application in, and that was all you had, 24 hours, and within the next 12 hours, or the next 24 hours, I would make the announcements and we'd complete the contest.
Wow.
And I rolled it out, and overnight I put the marketing out. I had no time to build a web page, just wrote it up in an email. I built a little subscription form with a box that could type in why they wanted, what difference this program would make. And hit send, like in the afternoon. Next morning I woke up, there were 12 applications and I closed it. Boom, done. I cannot wait any longer. And then I opened up all these applications. I started reading them, and I was floored. I read the first one. I was in freaking breakdown in tears. I could not believe what this woman was sharing about her child.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God, she just put her heart on the freaking floor, telling me what a difference this would make to her child, given the abuse that was happening and the stuff that was happening at her school, how she was just going into like a negative, spiral in her life, and how this leadership program would just turn that around. And that's, the history of that leadership program is it does that. So I got to finish reading that first one, and I started reading the next ones, thinking to myself, they're not going to be as heavy as that. Seriously, 12 of them later, and I've got tissues and I'm blowing my nose, I'm wiping my eyes, I'm like, what the hell just happened there? Like they were stunning. Like they were just so heartfelt. They were so willing to put everything in for their kids. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I chose the first lady. She had the most impact on me, and I made the call and we had the conversation, and it was all tears over again. She was in breakdown. Her child was in breakdown. It was crazy. I sent out an email to let everyone know that this is the person who won, and then I read the rest of them, and there was one or two that the applications were okay, but not really up there. And I sent emails out to all the other ones saying, like, your ones had a major impact on me as the person who was qualifying them.
Yes.
And I've shortlisted you for one of the second prizes. And 7 phone calls later, I had 5 people committed, and I closed the competition.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
So that started the conversation. It opened people up who were not responding, who were like the people who I ended up emailing were people who were opening the emails, who were clicking the links, but I wasn't getting anything from them. I only emailed them. There was only 400 odd people on that list, 427 I think it was. And it was like, okay, let's see what happens. Let's see if anything happens, and 12 of them responded. And none of the other marketing normal stuff, buy my thing, half price off, super sale, all that stuff, worked. But when I gave it away, I said, here's the program, I'm going to give you one. It changed it. And then everybody who I spoke to after that was totally, because they'd bought into it, they'd written out what they wrote out so beautifully. And the conversation was not a hard conversation. It was like, let's get you there. Let's help you be there, and let's use the scholarship to get you there.
So this example is for an in-person event where they're sending, in this case, their kids. What does this work for, and what does it not work for?
Yeah, we've tried it in many different places. So a few examples. The one that Estella actually joined me on, it was an online coaching program. And the funnel that we built into that was a 7-day Writers Challenge. A client of mine, Joanne Fedler, 7 days Writers Challenge. We had 2,000 people coming to the 7-day Writers Challenge. Over the 7 days, we had on average about 300 people show up and actually do the challenge. And at the end of the challenge, rather than her saying, hey, buy my Author Awakening adventure for $2,500, we're going to give you $1,000 off today, which is the normal shit. We gave it away. We said, thank you so much for spending 7 days with me. I am inspired by the work that you put into this. I'm inspired by the stories that you're wanting to write. And as my gift to you, I want to give you my Author Awakening program.
And that's an online course, or is it
an 8-week online program?
Okay. Cool.
So we gave that first one away. In fact, she ended up giving 5 away. She's a South African lady like myself, and she had a lot of applications coming from South Africa from people who had no money, but freaking inspiring stories, man. Some stories of, from the old history of Africa and how they came through that during apartheid. And she was like, you're getting a scholarship, and she chose 5 scholarships, full 100% scholarships for those people. And then we shortlisted it. We got 300 applications. The average of the daily show up is how many applications we got. Pretty much 100% of the people who showed up basically put an application in, and out of that we made over 100 sales.
And is that a program that sort of like once you create it, it doesn't cost you any more to fill those spots? So like a video course or something like.
Yeah, she runs them as 8 weeks at a time. So she wants to be there available for Q&A, but it's a 100%
but
video.
Adding more people doesn't cost
nothing.
More. Okay.
Yeah, so for her, she could have put as many people we could put in was what she wanted to do. But
so she could give away. That's why she had the capacity to give away more. Okay, cool.
Yeah, she could have given away 20 if she liked. It'd make no difference. As long as she had enough people in there that made it financially worth her while to actually roll it out. And at 100, at an average sales value of $1,500, she did okay.
Cool. So she gave 5 away, which, like, if they had paid, it would have been $6,500, and she made $150,000. So, just like 5% or something she was giving away.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
perfect.
But
they probably wouldn't have.
It wasn't given that number because I have people who give away a much bigger percentage of the sales that we make with the bag. But we only make the sales as a result of them giving away to an audience that wasn't buying. So if you consider the first story, like there was an audience that wasn't buying. Like, what would I give away to get that audience to actually put their hand up, just to even acknowledge that they were even a potential client? Because I didn't know. I had no idea at that time.
Yeah.
So a big way that we roll this out is off the back of events. So people actually go do a free live introductory event.
Yep.
And they might do a 2-hour, 4-hour, whole day, 3-day program, whatever it might be.
Yes.
And we do a follow-up with a similar strategy to all the people who don't buy. So, hey, you're great salespeople. You do 20% sales to the room. Let me tell you, if you can do 20% sales to a room, and you're selling a $1,500, $2,500, whatever, $10,000 program, you're a very good salesperson. most of my clients are good salespeople, and when they do 10%, they're pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
And that's a good number. 10% of the room, $1,500, and you get 100 people in the room, you get 10 sales. You're pretty happy with that. So our job is then to take the other 90 people and see who was sitting in the room, who wanted to put up their hand, who actually wanted to buy, but for all the reasons that show up when we're sitting in that moment and in the environment where we go, oh, the sale's coming, or I don't have enough on my credit card, or what's my wife going to say, what's my husband going to say, like all that shit that comes up.
The moment where people freeze and then just don't buy. Yep.
Can we actually get those people into a conversation and actually find out what happened by creating some gamification around it, having some fun with it, and giving the program away in the first place? Because you know for sure that every single time, if you stood in that room and rather than selling it, you said, I'm giving my program away, who would like it now? All the hands go up.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, cool. I'm wondering, so have you always done an application process to like, we're going to apply and then we'll pick a winner? Are there any other variations on that?
So the variations are all about the framing.
Okay.
So like there's different places and marketplaces and environments that it works in, and like those are, once I've finished writing the book, there's like so many different places that we've trialed it, and so many where that really didn't work. And to really cold audiences, it doesn't really work unless because you really warm them up.
Okay.
So it is a warm audience. Specifically, this strategy is a warm audience strategy, because again, if you're selling a $1,500, $2,500, $5,000, $10,000 thing, people aren't going to just buy it if they're not really know who you are and they can see the value and they've actually had enough time with you. If you're selling a few $100 or $100 thing or $500, you can apply this and that. We're doing that with the Freedom X Festival for August, and we've just, out of those 30 sales, 20 of them were made this way for 500 euros for a ticket. And we gave one of the tickets away, and we had 70 applications coming in, and we made 20 sales. So like for that, to a colder audience, it works because it's not
it's not too big. Okay.
a big number. But the different ways of framing it, and there's lots of different ways that I've found, and in the Freedom by Design book, I've actually listed all the ones that we've test filed. But we've had our clients set up scholarship funds. Like, here's a scholarship fund that I'm actually going to utilize to make available to people to access my programs, and actually put a value to that scholarship fund. People put applications in to access funding to do their programs, and then they put off the back of that application, the conversation then gets had. And then we are in control of how much of that scholarship we use towards the programs, based on their situation. So like, there's a beautiful application, and we just did that with a client of mine in the UK who's been around for 20 years and has a beautiful following, and she has amazing books and programs, all the way to awards, actually awarding people for the work that they do. So we run an award. This is the Roger Hamilton work that we used to do, and he still runs it, which is the Entrepreneur Award for contribution. And people put in an application telling us the kind of work that they do, their business that they do, that actually gives back in a huge way, and we acknowledge them for that work. And as the award, they get a full scholarship to the 30-day business incubator that I used to run. And then as a second prize awards, they get a certain scholarship voucher that they can utilize towards that. So again, applications come in, we find the best people, we acknowledge them, we give them the accolades. And so it's like, that's the first guy, plus all of these people have won as well. So like, everybody gets their accolades based on the work that they've done.
Wow. I love that. It's like high five, you can come and join, and maybe no one else would have acknowledged them. And here you're like, not only acknowledging them, but like giving them some extra boost by having them come join this program, which can help them grow even more. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
So creating that alignment around whatever you're doing, whatever the program is, whatever the coaching is, whatever the retreat is, whatever the product is looking at what the alignment to that is. And what's really nice about awards, which is great, is that there's award ceremonies for everything, for every vertical market. So you could run the strategy into those, the ones that everyone else is doing, and they're making no money from it because they're not making any sales. They're doing it for the people that they get on a database, who are the people usually who are voting.
So could you do this for the Oscars, for example?
I think that would be a stretch because I don't know what you'd be selling. But maybe you'd be selling an interview with one of the big celebrities. Like, hey, spend a half a day with Arnold Schwarzenegger, celebrity award. Like you could do probably some fun stuff around that. I don't know. Like there's lots of different ways that I think people will naturally kind of work out how it will work for them.
Yeah.
But in the moment, there's so many different ways. There's like a grant, government grants.
Yeah.
So governments grant for all sorts of things for business. Like you'll get a business grant to write your business plan or something like that. And some of them they'll give a 50% grant where the government gives you 50% towards this thing up to $10,000. And then you go out, you find the person who's going to do it, or usually they find you because they're actually tapping into the grant. They're going, hey, we'll write your business plan. And by the way, the government gives you a grant of 50% towards that fee anyway, but we'll do that for you and we'll put the application in and make sure that it's all, that applies. But what if you did the same thing, but you are the grant holder?
Yeah.
So, hey, my product is I do marketing plans and I roll out your marketing for you. And I have a grant program, which is put the application in, and if you are successful, you can get 50% of a grant towards you working with me.
So, gosh, the wheels are turning right now because I've always wanted to give adventure grants to people because I think I want to support people having adventures. And I run adventure trips. Now there's a link where I can have the grants and the trips all be, wow.
So you just become the funder as well.
Yeah.
However you want to frame this up, there are so many different ways. Like I've mentioned 3 here, and I think we've played with about 24 of them.
Okay, cool. So it sounds like one of the keys to this to work is to have skilled salespeople that will jump on the phone and have conversations with the people that are interested or that have applied.
Either that, or you're a good salesperson yourself in your business. So, I've got a number of clients that I've just consulted with who rolled out the strategy. They got on the calls, they made the sales, and they didn't want our salespeople because they went, you know what? I know my stuff better than any of your people, and no matter how much I train them, there's no ways with my authority that they're going to be able to close like me.
Sure.
And they've closed up to my best one is a guy named Henry O'Brien.
I know Henry.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
He's my mentor and coach as well, and he's rolled this out I think 3 times now and filled these events every single time. In fact, the event that I originally went to with him was the one that he used my strategy to, which was his Game Changer Live. And he did that off the back of a summit that he ran with 108 people that he had interviewed. Got to the end of that.
Well, that's a huge summit.
Huge summit. It took him a year to do those. We kind of set that all up.
Wow.
But then he rolled it out, and he had 700 applications, and then he booked about 100 calls. In 2 weeks, he had these phone calls. He did 70% conversion rate.
Wow.
This is a $2,500 program. So a nice little paycheck for him on that, and it took 2 weeks of his time in phone calls. But he's very, 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 very good in a conversation because he sees people and he knows, he can see their value and he can see what they're dealing with. And when people get that trust in the mentor, and they already had that because they were following him, so it becomes a simple conversation. So you don't need great skilled salespeople. Tune into your own ability to sell. And if your business isn't great and it's because you're not making sales, then maybe you're not the best salesperson. So maybe go find somebody else. But if you do have a good business, then this is even better. I look for people who are great salespeople, as well as people who just have a great audience because of their content and the way that they deliver. Because a lot of those ones actually are really bad in selling. They're really great at providing content, and they're really great at getting the audience to love them, and they do the sales pitch and it's awful and nobody buys. Like I've got a bunch of really like some of the top brands out there today are terrible at sales. So to be able to go in when they've done a 3 or 4% conversion rate of their audience, and you go in and you do 110% on top of what they just did or more, it's a game changer for them, because they've been used to making enough money and getting by doing the 3-4%, and suddenly we just double, triple that, and suddenly business goes from being good to hugely profitable. And you can give more away. So here's a way of thinking about this as well. For a lot of people, it's like, how can you give it away? Like it costs me X amount of things for people. Like people get caught up in like the cost of So especially on an event or whenever you're running something, use this strategy not as the primary strategy. Use it as a backup strategy. That's usually my way.
Okay.
Henari used it as a primary strategy, filled up his entire event, didn't do anything else. But most people use this as a backup strategy, and it's based on the fact that if you're able to be running your events and your retreats and stuff like that already, then you're covering most of the costs already. You're breaking even, you're doing okay. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in business. And then what this does is just add profit. And usually, if you look at every single sale after you've broken even, the cost of the cost for each one of those sales is far less. It's like maybe 30% of the cost of everybody else, because everybody else is getting it to break even, which is like the main cost plus each person's participation cost. So it's admin and all those things built in. So once that's done, then it's just per person cost. And if you're doing an online program,
it's almost nothing.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
So like consider that you can give far more away once you know that you're already doing the work that you do that gets you to break even or to to some level close to that.
You could give 90% of the new people away and you'd still have increasing your profit.
My clients are willing to give me pretty close to that.
Wow.
Because they just want people in, because they know the next sell to that person in their ring is a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 sell.
Lifetime value of the clients.
They make a lot more money. In fact, that's where they make most of their money. Usually the intro programs is not where they make their money.
So they're selling, generally it sounds like you're talking about $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 type of programs, and then later, what is the $20,000 like? Would that be like private?
Yeah, that'll be like a one-on-one coaching.
One-on-one coaching.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah. But we sell up to our highest ticket value item that we've sold is $36,000, and our lowest is like a $500 downsell, which is an online program that people can do at home and whatever else.
Okay, and so it's not for $100.
Well, it's not
offering.
that it isn't. Just I don't have clients who had that, and because of my charge model, it doesn't make sense to be selling that. But if for them, if they gave me $100, I would have it as a downsell rather than as a primary product. But if you're doing all this work yourself and you're able to set up yourself and take your own time and do it where the costs you relatively low to actually do it and set it up, and you're going to do the calls, you're not going to give that as commission away and all that type of thing, then do it on a $100 one. Just you're going to have a lot of calls.
Yeah.
And to be honest, you could probably do that one there automated. So actually have people accept their reward online and actually go on and activate their coupon. Here's your coupon code. Go in now and do it. So I would do that as an automated one.
Interesting.
We've done that a few times. We've actually automated in the past, and we've had people go through and actually make the full purchase without a salesperson. But you're looking for the low end product then.
Right. Yeah. So if you eliminate the having to get on the phone, then you save most of your time. Yeah.
Well, that's right. So if you're going to get on the phone, make sure that it's worth your while.
Yeah.
That the dollar value is high enough. If you're not going to get on the phone, then build a follow through system that people are going to actually utilize. And everything here is not about. It's not about going in and going, oh, this is a smart strategy, I'm going to do it. It's actually it's just a change in the way that we think about it. And I think that's been the big thing for me, is that when I speak to clients, the number one thing is they come from this place of how, they want to give their program away. They like, if they could give their program away, they would. They would just they would give it away for every single day because of the end result that they see with the people that they work with. So for them, the fact that they can do something there in the giving aspect and in the giving act or the act of giving is so aligned with what they want to achieve that that it sets up for a beautiful energy and energetic and intention for that. Don't use this strategy because it's a clever strategy, because that's not what it was meant for. It was meant to be able to get more people, to be able to put more people in the system, in a process, in a program, in a coaching, to change more lives. Like all of my clients, there's not a client I work with who doesn't do some form of transformational work with their clients, health-wise, business-wise, spiritually, whatever it might be. That's my commitment to it, and that's only where I play. Yes, it will work in a whole bunch of other places, but I'm not interested. I'm interested in shifting consciousness on this planet and working with change makers who have already got amazing forces and programs and followings, and just helping them reach more of that following, awakening more of the audience.
I'm imagining though that corporations like Nike, for example, could have, if people are applying like, why do you need a pair of basketball shoes or whatever it is, you could all of a sudden get some great stories. You could be giving away some of your shoes. I see it has a lot of potential. Wow. Cool. This is fun. It kind of blows my mind that you just thought of this, because, well, often I think of, and I think a lot of people think, like, all the marketing patterns and strategies and things have been tried already, and we just have to like try to make them as good or efficient as we can. But there's so much room to, let's see if this works or let's see if that works, that you just make it up and then try it and it works, okay, and then let's work on that some more and see where it fits. There's just this, it's like the adventure, it's like the explorers of the days of old finding new continents, and here we're finding new ways to sort of make that connection between the people that need what you've got and the thing that you're giving them.
It's all ideas. There's not a unique idea, I believe, on the planet. It's a culmination of things that you've experienced and things that you've witnessed and played with, and that certainly that was it for me. The way that it popped in was like all of this has been done in some form. Each little aspect of it has been done in a form, and how that just dropped in, and it all happened because of the tension that I'd created and the commitment that we had to making that program a success. Yeah. And we were sitting around going, what can we do? What else is possible? And we were sitting in that place of possibility, rather than going back on old strategies, going, oh, let's try this other thing again. We went, okay, I think we've actually exhausted everyone. Now let's move into this place of possibility. What is possible? What in the world could open up for a new conversation? And sitting in that possibility without anyone being able to get smart was when you get those little downloads, when something drops, and when you talk it, you still don't know the strategy. The first part of the strategy drops out while you're talking it, and then you go, oh, what if we did that? And then the next part of the strategy drops out because now you're voicing the little bits that you're getting, and suddenly those little breadcrumbs start to form in front of your eyes as you go, and that's the magic. And that's if you consider any new invention or anything, it comes from a place of thinking about possibility or this imagination of what else, and giving that space for that to happen. And like I say, this was what I've created, what was created as a result of us tuning in there, and me talking about and trying out is just scratching the surface of what's possible in this moment with with the ideas around us.
Yeah.
And I know that the book is going to start new conversations.
This recording, people are going to have ideas as they're listening and start running with it.
Yeah, exactly. So writing the book, I've got the coaching program already. I've actually done about a half dozen that I've rolled out over the last few years. Actually coach people to actually roll out this strategy as well. And I've now integrated that with the marketing academy that I put together 6 or 7 years ago, which is the academy, which I used to call Campaign Master Academy, which is now the Freedom Business Academy. And I'm bringing the giving model inside of that so people can look at how they can build a marketing strategy that is set up for success from day one, that even when they fail at its worst failure, they still make profit. So how do we minimize the whole idea of going out there and actually setting ourselves up? Because when you go out and you start marketing your new thing and you have no idea. So can we get ourselves in a position where even when we fail, and by the way, I've never had not one of my campaigns ever go through without a failure. Every single one of them were failures at some level, but every single one of them had a profit. And even the ones that didn't make a profit in financial, there was profit in the ongoing effect of it. Mm-hmm. So we were able to track that and see that. So how can we do that and actually start looking at things differently and actually look for ways that we can start changing the model where people are throwing stuff at us all the time and just it's like masses join my thing because you hear it must be the right thing for you, to actually get into a conversation which is, hold on, I'm so committed to this, I'm going to give away these things, and for everybody else, I want to get into conversation with you. I want to find out, is this program actually right for you? Get into human-to-human conversation again. I feel that the whole online funnel thing has been, the whole idea of becoming more and more automated has become less and less human. Mm-hmm. And I think it's time to shift that. I think it's time for people to get back into conversation. And people, I think, are really craving that. It's been a good few years now of people trying to automate the shit out of everything, and I think there's a space for that. There's a space for an opt-in and stuff like that. But I think it's time to also acknowledge that people don't just want to get thrown into some program. They're vulnerable and they're asking questions and they've got different things that they could put in front of them. And most of the time, as people are kind of starting the journey, they have no idea what's right for them next. So if we take that responsibility, if we take that as a responsibility, not to just throw them into your thing because, hey, I'm selling it now and you're here, so it must be right for you. Yeah. Let's get in the conversation instead, and let's, from a place of authenticity and abundance, have a conversation of what's possible and if I'm even the right person for you. I know that this is what you talk about. It's like, this is. Like, you don't put just anybody in your coaching program. Is this actually the right person? Is this the right kind of person who... Yeah, and that's a more powerful and enjoyable position as the person selling, because if you don't think it's right, then you can just send them to someone else and they can make some money or, whatever. Then you're like, okay, I'm helping everybody even if I'm not the one training them. That's the abundance mindset. Brilliant. John, is there anything we haven't talked about with this that you think is important to touch on? No, I think we've got enough to open up some inquiry and some imagination for the listeners, and I'd really be open for anybody who wants to jump on and have a chat to me to jump onto my website. And what's the best place to find you? It's www.johnabbott.me, and just pop on there. There's a whole bunch of different forms that you can go through and send me questions or whatever else. There's my Facebook as well, Facebook.com/JohnAbbottMe, and jump on and have a conversation with me. I'm really open to speak to people who are willing to do something with themselves and actually take the next steps and actually take action. And also willing to talk to people who are a little bit concerned about the actions that they take and help them get more confidence in taking those actions, because sometimes it's a big thing for them. So I think let's see what shows up from what people hear, and let's hear the concerns, the challenges that I may have put in front of people, which are oh geez, I don't want to give it all away. let's get those new conversations going. But I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for allowing me to share a little bit of.
Yeah, it's very exciting. It's
what I do.
It's fun. Thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Cheers. Thank you.
All right, great interview with John Abbott. Hopefully that got the wheels turning in your heads. Obviously, you guys could probably hear me thinking about the possibilities during the interview. And these types of models are great. If it's something you haven't encountered before, it not only gives you a new option, but it also says what other models in my life or business could be improved or could be changed, or I'm just doing because that's the way that they're done, even if I don't really love them. So we'd love to hear from you if this changed your thinking about marketing or selling or any other part of your life or business. Send us a message on Instagram or Twitter or email. And please leave a review for The Art of Adventure on iTunes. It helps keep the show up in the rankings. Thanks so much for listening. That's the end of today's episode. Now it's your turn to go out there and be adventurous.